Hey, how's it going, Geometry Kids? Today we are going to look at 5.5 Indirect Proofs. Uh-oh, the dreaded P word. Okay, so first off, let's talk about what's it mean to be indirect. That means you don't go directly at them, take a roundabout way. It's sort of like you're trying to ask out a girl without just coming out and asking her out. You're taking the indirect method. Okay, so what you do is, for an indirect proof, is you assume what you're proving is not true, and you show that has to be true. Let's just take a look at what we do. There's some steps here. Step 1 in writing indirect proof is state as a temporary assumption that the opposite of what you want to prove. So what you want, let's take an example. Let's take, actually, here, one pause. Oh, I'm back. It feels like I just left. So let's say we're going to do this problem step by step. Step 1. What are we trying to prove, guys? We're trying to prove that L is not parallel to P. So we're going to assume the opposite of that. We're going to assume L is parallel to P. Let's say it is. Who knows? It might be. State 1. You state a temporary assumption of the opposite of what you want to prove. We want L is not parallel to P, so we assume L parallel to P. Step 2. Show that leads to a contradiction, because we know the given's true. Okay. So then we go to step 2. So then we say if, L is parallel to P, then angle 1 is congruent to angle 2 by, that corresponding angles of parallel lines crossed by transversal are congruent. Okay. Okay. Step 3. But, this is step 3, we'll put right here. But angle 1 is not congruent to angle 2. So this is a contradiction. Hence, L is not parallel to P. So we assumed L is parallel to P. So that means angle 1 has to equal or be congruent to angle 2. But they aren't. That means L can't be parallel to P. Hence, the world is in order. Okay? Okay. So this one's going to say, suppose you want to write an indirect proof of each statement. That's the first step in each proof. What would you assume? So A is triangle box is not a cube. So we would assume, what's the opposite of being not a cube? The triangle box is a cube. Okay? Here we go. At least one pair of shoes you bought cost more than $25. What's the opposite of that? Assume. Okay. Now this one's kind of tricky because it costs more than $25. What's the opposite of saying one pair of shoes, at least one pair, costs more than $25? Okay. So we're going to assume all shoes cost less than $25. That's how you do, guys. Opposite, opposite, opposite. Outward and forward. Another question you might be asked is, which two statements contradict each other? This always reminds me of that Skills commercial. You're a Scottish bagpipe player. Or, nah, you guys know what I'm talking about. You're a walking contradiction. Which two statements contradict each other? Triangle is acute. Triangle is scalene. Triangle is equiangular. Scalene means no equal sides or angles. Okay? So, this one says acute means there's at least, or all the angles are less than 90, right? So all angles less than 90 degrees. Scalene says no angles or sides are congruent. And this says all angles are congruent. This one says no angles are congruent. This one says all. These are your two that contradict each other. They're opposite. They're not the same. Now let's take a look at this one. So statement 1 and 2 are contradiction. Scalene means no equal sides. Equilateral means all equal sides. ABC is not scalene. So is 2 and 3, are they equivalent? Are all triangles that aren't scalene equilateral? No. Because isosceles are not scalene. Or equilateral. And one more slide, guys. 2 more slides. I'm just kidding. No, one more. Okay, let's do another proof. Given 7 times x plus y equals 70 and x is not equal 4. Prove y is not equal 6. So what are we looking to prove, guys? That y is not equal to 6. So our first step, we're going to assume y equals 6, the opposite, right? Step 2, we're going to see if we can find a contradiction. So if y equals 6, then 7 times x plus y equals 70 means I can go 7 times x plus 6 equals 70, right? Which means 7x plus 42 equals 70, which means 7x equals 28, which means x equals 4. Okay? So if y equals 6, then x equals 4. But, step 3, we know x does not equal 4, so there's a contradiction. Hence, y cannot equal 6. It just can't. Because if y equals 6, then x equals 4, and we know x is not 4. Okay? That's where we're going to end it today, guys. Enjoy.